Hey, welcome back. It's Dr. Catherine Kirby, and I'm here again to talk to you about repressed sexual memories and about sexual abuse. And I went back and listened to my original, and I realized that I promised to make more videos, and I'm sorry I didn't. I do hear from some of you, and you have all my empathy and love. And so here it is, the middle of the night, and I'm awake, and I thought, I think it's time to make another video. So if you haven't, go back and watch my first video about what happens when suppressed memories come into your life. This is my dog Hartley, and when I listened to the last video, I don't think I realized how much shaking he does. Now, he doesn't have a collar on anymore. He's, let's see. Hartley, where are ya? Oh, wouldn't you know, you try to show him and he, he goes the other way. But he doesn't have a collar on anymore. And he, during that other video, he was constantly shaking this collar. So I apologize for that. And for the weird beginning here. Now I have another little dog, and you might hear her too. But I'm back to talk to you a bit. So we talked about triggers. And as time goes on, you may notice more triggers. One thing I notice about myself is I do not like to be backed into a corner or an area. And it doesn't even matter if it's my husband. I'm thinking, let me out of here, let me out of here. So I gave up being a doctor. I run a yarn shop now. And when people want to see the needles, I lead them back to this little area. And what happens is I end up getting stuck back in the corner while people are talking. And I'm starting to feel panicky. Like triggers that you're in a situation where you feel helpless, and since I've had those memories, now I know why. But what if you weren't the victim? What if you're the mother or the father, and now you find out that something has happened to your child? How do you deal with that? I recently told a family member that I enjoy aging. I like my silver. It's pretty. When you're young, you think you know so much. And the older you get, you realize you don't know much of anything. When I was younger, even as a doctor, if somebody, if I found out that children were being sexually abused by their father, my question is, where was the mother? Where was your mother? And I thought, oh, come on, you're not going to tell me that the mother did not know this was going on. But let me tell you, things happen in my life that these things are very hidden. They're even in your own house. I read a story about two teenage girls. And growing up, their father would always be in their bedroom and playing games with them. And sometimes he'd hide under their bed. And it was all fun and games. And when he would drive them to school, if he accidentally put his elbow out, they called it, he accidentally boobed me. And they would laugh. But the girls were getting older and they were starting to develop. And Dad hiding under the bed wasn't funny anymore. Like, Dad, get out of here. And one of the girls found out that she was pregnant, and she didn't feel well and stayed home from school. And now her dad comes home from work and says, your mother told me that the area around your nipple, the areola, is starting to get dark. Can I see it? No, Dad, get out. So she told her mother. And thank the good Lord, her mother believed her and separated from the husband and everything. But oftentimes people aren't met with belief. And sometimes it can just be too much for somebody to take in. But you would expect support from a parent. but you don't always get it. And so I just wanted to come back on and talk to you because it is such a complex issue. And when these memories come out, or maybe not all of your memories have come out, I have a memory of after this happened to me, my grandparents live next door, is going over to my own backyard and sitting under the picnic table and crying my eyes out because this man told me that if I told anybody, he would cut out my tongue. I have that memory. And it's not that I don't believe you can heal completely, but if your life was a puzzle of thousands of pieces, it's still there. That piece is still there. And it's humbling. You have this piece of you that is an injured child. And sometimes one of the things that counselors do, if you're having dreams or you're tormented, is to get you to kind of rewrite what happened and come out the victor, or even to write a letter to that person. The person that did that to me is long gone. And I wonder how many other people. I mean, I wasn't the only one. And that's why family members don't like to hear about that, because, hey, if it happened to you, maybe it happened to me. And sometimes an older person in your family, whether it be a sister, a brother, a niece or nephew, has memories that you don't have. But once they share those memories, your memory bank starts to react. And once it does, you're really in a tailspin. If you're a parent, you found out that your children were sexually abused by the other parent, there's a lot of guilt. I mean, how do you get over that? You did not protect your child. That's a hard one. You have to take these things to God. Again, journaling is very good. I'm amazed when, do you hear my dog moaning? I'm amazed when I journal the things that come out that I didn't even know that were in there. And earlier, when I was listening to the video I made months ago, my husband kind of said all that. My husband is such an amazing, caring man, and yet even he doesn't want to go there. He never asked me basic questions like, well, what really happened? Was there penetration or what happened? And that's kind of how you find out people in your life are. They just really don't want to know. They don't want that burden. And that makes it a lonely experience. But with God and journaling, and then the other thing is what if you tell somebody that you think is a close friend or a confidant, and then that relationship breaks up? Now that person has this very sensitive information about you and about your perpetrator. And what if that perpetrator is still alive? In the last video, I said that the thing to do is not to go after the perpetrator. And why did I say that? I say that because if that person has never come forward and proclaimed to be sorry, they are the same person that they were. Many years ago, I had a friend, she's deceased now, and I know that she'd be okay with me telling you this story. She suffered sexual abuse at the hands of her father. She had to go through high school living with that. She became pregnant with her father's child and had a miscarriage. And as you can imagine, she didn't associate well with other students. So once she became older, her father is now old. He's having health problems. He had diabetes. He lost a leg to amputation. And her older sister said, look, it's time to get over this. Dad needs us. He's old now. And let me tell you, sometimes in our minds, we think that old people are just naturally sweet. Oh, she's an old lady, therefore. No, people are who they are. And so she told her sister, I'm not going. And her sister went. And as her sister leaned down like this to transfer him from the wheelchair into the bathroom, he began to grope her. So I've heard stories and I've read books about people that tried to make peace with their past, tried to talk to a parent who abused them. The one man that I read about, he went through counseling. He decided that he would approach his father, and he thought that a restaurant would be a safe place to meet. But when he got there and his father was standing on the sidewalk and got into his car and said, hey, you wanted to talk? Let's talk. His father ended up beating him up, broke a lot of his teeth. He had, I forget how many corrective surgeries. And the lesson is, don't go after the perpetrator unless you have reason to believe that they are sorry and they've changed. There was another incident I knew about where a woman tried to confront a parent, and because she did not want that parent to hurt other children, she notified some people in authority, and the whole thing just blew up in her face. It became public. She became the bad person, the one that spread these vicious lies, because let's face it, some people are really exalted in the community. They may be a mayor, a doctor, or whatever. But in their home, they're sexually abusing their children. And the public aren't ready to see that. They have an image of that person that they believe. And so you have to proceed with caution. And I've loved hearing from all of you. It is a journey, and it can be a journey of healing, admitting that you were a victim. This was not your fault. You were just an innocent child. You did the best you could. You were just a kid. And sometimes when kids tell people they're not believed, it's rough. But I'm just here to offer support. And if you are in the storm of this, I remember when I found out some things. I remember driving around town and I didn't even know where I was. I was just flipping out, not knowing the facts, not knowing how, when, what, and needing to be settled. And if you're in the storm, it will get better. I remember laying awake for months, searching my brain about things. Eventually things come together. And after that, then I think you can begin to heal. And write a letter to the person. Don't mail it, just write it and get out your thoughts that you've harmed me. Another thing that works is having a good friend or a person that you can trust sit in a chair across from you and read your letter to them. Pretend like they are the person that harmed you, because healing is a trail of tears. It really is. You come full circle to blaming the proper person, crying, grieving, writing your letter, and reading the letter. When things get squashed down, that is the road to bitterness. That's the road to becoming passive aggressive, where you're angry about people that you don't even know. You put that anger out there on somebody that cuts you off in traffic. And no, you want to heal. And that involves some grieving over the innocence of your childhood. the grieving over what happened to you or your child, or it takes some work, and it's a good work. It's healthy work. It's work that gets you to heal. And then I find it a blessing that I know now why I have the triggers that I have, that why sometimes I'm just suddenly sad or crying, or why I don't like to be backed into a corner, or why I don't like men with thick glasses. Now I understand why I don't like dark, dank places. If I were, say, in a building and a man walked in and I was alone with him, no, I would not be comfortable. I would want to get out of there. Even if I were in an elevator and a man got in, I would feel closed in and I would want out of there. So love that hurt child, and even just embrace yourself when you cry and say, you poor little girl. Grieve with that little child and help that little child to heal. That child had nobody to help, he or she knew where to go, and it's time to heal that child. So write to me, let me know how you're doing. Be happy to reach out to any of you. In the book of Isaiah, God promises to be your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. He promises to be everything to you. The Bible says God is very close to the brokenhearted, and he was there, right there with you when that happened. And you could say, well, then why didn't he prevent it? Obviously, God has a greater reason. I would not be able to talk to you and comfort you and understand you. I mean, look at the self-righteous person I was when I said, oh, where was the mother when this was happening? Surely she knew. Now I realize, no, she didn't know. And if anything, I feel very sorry for that mother, because when she finds out, she's going to be heartbroken that she didn't know. So I'm with you. I'm here for you. There's other people. If you reach out to people and they disappoint you, because people are disappointing, then forget about them. If there's somebody that you can trust and go to that can help you, focus on that person. Don't worry about the other people that are letting you down. And I'm going to sign out. Take good care of yourself, and God bless you. Goodbye.